Hi, this is Coach Cynthia again, and today's growth webinar series, I want to talk to you about the 4 aspects of a congruent, balanced, and inspiring coach. And the reason I'm going with this angle this time is because in my experience coaching coaches who are just starting out or have some experience in the business, we all go through ups and downs. And we all go through the times when we're very, very successful and also the times when we are struggling or trying to make it into this into the dream that we want. However, as I always emphasize, there's always a certain level of energy that attracts your market, and we're going to go even deeper now to discuss the 4 aspects of yourself as a human being that, if you can optimize this, will actually draw your market into you and develop you to become someone who is, in your own personhood, become so inspiring that people want to go for you, want to go with you, want to work with you. Okay, so the objective of our session today is basically just 3 things: how to optimize your inspiration out there in the market, how to minimize your own burnout, and then how to maximize your own fulfillment, your own feeling of, oh my gosh, I'm into this type of industry and this is my calling and this is what makes me fulfilled. Okay, so this is our main objective. So I want to start with introducing you to something that you're probably not very unfamiliar with. Brad Sugars has put this into his system when he talks about the 6 keys of a winning team, and there's a 4 cylinders of high performance. I'm just going to put a new twist to that, and I call that the 4 aspects of human engagement. It is in principle discussing the similar aspects, but I want to bring you to think about it in a different way. Body, mind, heart, and spirit, we all have 4 aspects when we want to engage ourselves into something, okay? And the actions way of doing it that we learned was that body and mind had a lower score than heart and spirit. Here, I'd like to put them all on equal par, okay? And I want to show you that it is very important for us to be engaged in all 4 of these. And maybe by answering some of these questions that I will pose during this webinar, you can also discover where is it that you need to maintain your level of engagement, increase your level of engagement, or even, take it down a notch because you're probably overemphasizing on certain things. So the idea is, if we can engage all 4 aspects of our being, we could actually reach better fulfillment, but we can also reach better harmony in what we're doing. So let's take this one step at a time. So here's a scenario. You are a coach. It is not a scenario. This is who you really are. But you are a coach. You are a coach who wants to be a role model in society, who wants to get the market to look to you for advice or for coaching and to build a relationship with your community. Let's talk about our physiology as a coach. I remember when I was first going into a networking session, this was years ago, this must have been 7 years ago when I first started my business. There was this executive coach at the time who was also in my networking group, in networking breakfast in one of the chambers. He was completely obese. Okay, this guy says he's a coach. He has all the great name cards and everything, but this guy had absolutely no congruence when it comes to his physiology. He went around, he always had pills with him whenever he had any kind of coffee or lunch or whatever appointment, because he always had to pop the pills before he actually ate anything in that room. He's always sweating. His suit and everything like that, I'm sure it's a very expensive tailor, but it was just overflowing with too much of everything. And I didn't notice that at that time. However, there was this one time when I actually referred him to one of my contacts. The reason being why I referred him to one of my contacts was because he knew he was looking for a coach, and I thought, okay, well, I want to test this guy out, so I referred him to one of my contacts to see what they would think. They had an appointment together. The week after, I called up my contact and I said, hey, did you meet up with this coach I referred you to? What'd you think? And he said to me, I cannot believe you refer someone like that to me. And I said, what's going on? Well, I thought he had all the credentials you were looking for. It's like, yeah, professionally, he had a great background, but have you met him? He was overflowing in my chair. I mean, my chair almost broke. And I said, yeah, but what's the point? What are you talking about? I still didn't get it. And he said, look, you are referring me to someone who says that he's going to help my team become more disciplined. He's going to help me discover things I don't see about myself. Yet, look at him. He doesn't even have enough physiology to keep him going. Okay, so you get the idea. The idea is if you're going to be a coach that inspires people, yet you do not have optimal physiology, get ready not to be inspiring. You can get away with it, don't get me wrong. Here in Asia, we have a lot of unhealthy business people, okay? And it's only coming to a point where health has become an important aspect of congruency. It's very normal, however, you see people in their early 40s having heart attacks or having cholesterol problems or having diabetes and stuff like that, just because they do not have the routine and the awareness to become physically healthy. However, if you want to optimize your inspiration and your congruence as a coach, if you want to optimize your impact in the market, you need to pay attention to this. Not only for the fact that it actually gets you to look more congruent as a coach, but the second and perhaps more important thing is what it actually does to yourself. How it opens up your creativity when you are healthy, how it opens up your ability to bring yourself to your job and bring yourself to your calling when you are healthy. And there's a couple of things I want to emphasize today is what does it mean to have optimal physiology, optimal health? And it's not like everybody's got to have muscles bulging out, six packs, and all these kinds of things. None of that. But there's a couple of things that we need to pay attention to. And if you follow Anthony Robbins and what he says about optimal health, etc., you'll hear more of this. But let me just impart certain things. Number one is the importance of oxygen. You know, as a vocalist myself, and also in my past experience in theater and singing, etc., we know that there is certain posture that you must hold in order to get maximum oxygen into your system. And that usually means breathing in from your diaphragm, or people just say breathing in from your stomach instead of from your chest. That's very important. It also affects how you carry yourself, your posture. So if you slouch, automatically your lungs, your certain parts of your body folds in, and it prevents your air passage from optimizing. So how do you carry yourself? How do you learn about how to breathe? Okay, so that's very basic. Number two is water intake. You know, to be honest, I've cut down on the amount of coffee, amount of sodas, amount of sugar drinks or juices even. I mean, even to say, okay, well, juices is good for you, etc. Well, it depends. If they're all packed with sugar and they're come in a pack, in a package, it may not be good for you. What about replacing them with just water? Coffee. You know, 1 cup of coffee actually dehydrates you 1 cup of water. So it's probably better not to drink anything than to drink coffee. Hey, you know, having said this, I know I'm a coffee fan. I love my coffees. But I have to say I have decreased the amount of coffee that I drink because I learned that coffee is actually a dehydrating thing, as also with sodas. I've enjoyed, you know, better skin, better energy, better awareness. What about good nutrition? You know, we can always say, well, you know, I have no time. I've got, you know, I'm coaching 20 clients, etc. But the value of good nutrition, the way it opens up your mind, it opens up your energy. And number 4 is basically getting rid of toxins. Do you have a way? You know, we are always building up toxins. You know, even if you eat nutritiously, or even if you watch what you drink, you breathe, you always have toxins, and it is your body's need to get rid of them. And if you do not get rid of them, this is where disease starts accumulating. The best way to get rid of them is, of course, regular exercise. Okay, well, either the better way is not to put a lot of toxins to begin with, so limiting your alcohol, limiting all these unhealthy habits that you have, or smoking, etc. Definitely getting rid of that. But the idea of sweating it out, getting regular exercise, do you do that, or do you let it accumulate inside your body? There's so many times where I've seen people, where their skin has got a lot of pimples, a lot of oil spots. Their energy level is so low, and in times of the day when where they should be at their peak, they're carrying around a lot of weight, a lot of crap, and a lot of toxins in their system. And I can just imagine, because I've been there, that the moment you get rid of those things through regular exercise, through movement, through everything like that, you actually get to experience a lot better energy. So the importance of getting yourself into optimal physiology as a coach, especially if you're going to be a public speaker, especially if you're going to be the one inspiring people to have more energy in their lives, and the time to relax, the time to rest. The last point here, how important it is for you to rest. People say that if you do not get to bed by 10 p.m. every night, your body loses the chance to regenerate itself for that particular night. And if you continue doing that, you will not have an optimal system. So time to relax is ending early, sleeping early, waking up earlier, then doing your exercises, and then getting on with your day. So what is it in your habits that you need to change, that you need to reconsider in order for you to be an optimal coach? A story of a coach, very hardworking person, and she has a tendency to overdrink her coffee, overstay the amount of time that she is in front of her laptop, overthink things, overwork herself. And it's interesting because it wasn't like she was getting any better in terms of results. She was getting more stressed. Her relationships, etc., and productivity was affected. But it wasn't like she was getting any more productive. We sometimes also hear stories of people who work so hard in their corporate jobs, or even when they have their own business, and the more they work, the less productive they become, because their body is simply screaming, "Let me rest. Let me rest, let me breathe, let me drink well, let me eat well, let me replenish myself." Your body is the vessel that carries you around. So let's not forget to take care of it as well. Okay, so first point, first aspect of your life. You want to be congruent, you want to be balanced, you want to be inspirational, you need energy. And use this section to really reevaluate, how optimal have you been treating your physiology that helps to carry you around. Let's keep going. We have body. Number 2 is mind. And to be more specific, I want to bring you into an understanding of how clear is your perception, how clear is your mind as a coach. And this, I just want to tackle a couple of things. Number 1 is, how aware are you of what's going on mentally inside of you? For those of you who have taken NLP, great, because what that basically teaches you is the structure of human thought, the structure of human habits, the structure of human thinking, and hopefully with that kind of understanding, you can actually reverse engineer your own thoughts, your own habits, what's actually going on, okay? But mental awareness, or people say also emotional intelligence. I mean, how aware are you about yourself and how you are behaving and what you are thinking? How aware are you about your beliefs? How aware are you about how big your I know is, or how above or below the line you are? Okay, so just to use a couple of action terms. Your mental awareness is very, very important, because as coaches, especially as I teach executive coaching, for instance, we get into the realm of becoming a whiteboard, becoming a blank sheet of paper for our clients. In order to be a great coach, you can't come in there with your own judgments. You can't be interpreting people. Okay, maybe that's the difference between a psychoanalyst and a coach. You can't go there and interpret people. It's the reflective aspect of coaching, that you're reflecting back with clear questions. And where does that come from? If you don't catch yourself in what you believe, in what's actually happening in your mental self, what you can be projecting to your clients is quite scary. Okay, you could be misinterpreting things, you could be adding on your own values, you could be coaching based on your beliefs. And if you've got an argumentative client and they can argue back and defend themselves, great. But if you've got one of those, submissive, I'll do whatever my coach says, those kinds of clients, you could be darn right misleading them. Okay, so get it clear in your head. What are the perceptions I'm coming into? What's happening in my head? What are some of the beliefs I'm activating in this particular conversation? Okay. Number 2, feeding your mind positively. This is, of course, the books you read, the people you hang out with. Okay, so the books you read, of course, are feeding your mind positively with knowledge, but also your environment, the people that you allow to be in your environment are feeding your mind either positively or negatively. Okay, so here we talk about how to make sure that whatever that you do put into your mind is something that is positive. Sharpening the saw, here what I mean is not just putting in new knowledge, but lifting up the game, taking yourself up to the next level of challenge regularly, not staying in your comfort zone. The idea of exercising your mind takes you to the realm of, are you challenging yourself? Are you sharpening yourself regularly? Okay, so again, in relation to how good are you as a coach will depend on how aware are you of what's happening mentally within you. How ready are you to feed yourself with stuff that is positively helping you to grow? And the third is, how do you take yourself up to the next level of challenge all the time? Because if your clients are out challenging you, okay, that means they need a new coach. Okay, so that's on the realm of mind. So here's the question before we move on to the next one. We talked about body, we talked about the mind. How clear is what's happening in your mind for you? How sharp is your mind as a coach? How do you sharpen it? We talk about body, mind, heart. Okay, so now let's talk about the heart. And in heart, I want to talk about choosing to contribute as a coach with passion. That sounds pretty simple. Of course, we're all in here for passion. Are we? Are we? Are you sure? Because some of us are building our business so that we don't lose. I got to get new clients so that I don't lose my return on investment. I got to get new clients because if not, I would have wasted my time and money. So the question is, are you doing this business to win or not to lose? What kind of energy are you coming into your game with? An energy of love? I mean, there's only 2 types of energy, love or fear. Okay, love, which is passion, the excitement, the love of the game. Fear is to do something just to get by, just not to lose, just to make sure everything's safe. Okay, so these are the 2 types of energy. I wonder if you could introspect within yourself deep enough to realize on a day-to-day basis, when you enter the game of business coaching, executive coaching, being a coach, marketing, sales, anything, anything that you do on a daily basis to accelerate your business, do you do it with the energy of love or fear? Because the effect may seem superficially the same. However, in the long run, you will see that, as the quote says, if you use fear, it is an energy that contracts. It is a feeling that contracts your ability. It actually shrinks you. And it blocks opportunities. However, if you use love, you will see a lot of expansion of energy. You will see that opportunities open up. You will see that people are inspired by you. Okay? The second point is, who do you focus on? When you choose to do your business based on passion, most likely it is, love is about giving. It is about focusing something for other people instead of about yourself. Using that energy of love to really contribute instead of what's in it for me. Here's an interesting example that I often get all the time after people see me speak on stage, and they always get me afterwards and say, how come you don't seem nervous when you're on stage? And I said, well, I had to think about that for a while, because that was actually a very good question, because I thought, well, yeah, by right, I should. And I was. I mean, when I first started, I didn't come into Action Coach with public speaking background. I mean, the only public speaking I ever did before Action Coach was, training my team of 26 technicians or however many salespeople I used to manage. But when I thought about the first time I spoke in public, I was so focused on myself, my notes, what was I going to say, my hair, what did I look like, would I stumble on stage? That was what I was experiencing, and that's what got me the energy of fear of not performing. I mean, there was a level of excitement that I was happy to be on stage, but there was a lot more level of fear of not performing, not looking good. Am I going to be okay? It's always about me. However, as time rolled on, it was more of the interesting game of contributing to the people in the room. And that got me to focus on other people. When I heard questions, when I was challenged, when things didn't go right throughout the presentation, and things happen, right? I was more concerned about how to make it right so that we could get back on track for the others. I was more concerned about, how do I answer that question? How do I pull out my resources so that I can help that person? And suddenly it was just this great shift of attention that it wasn't any more about me. It wasn't any more about my fear of not looking good, of not doing well. It was more about the love of contributing to the people in front of me that have entrusted their time and money to see me. Okay? So it was more on focus on others, and the fear just goes away. Okay? So choosing to work, choosing to coach, choosing to give with passion instead of being concerned with your fears is something that I think will engage you on the heart level as a coach and make you a much more inspirational person. Third point, loving your fears. Hey, why not, right? I mean, what is it that you are afraid of? Everybody's got one, at least, right? But the question is, when you have a fear, what's good about it? Fear is basically something that tells you, oops, still need to learn something. Oops, still need to grow in a certain way. That's what fear is telling you. So how do you love your fears? How do you embrace it as kind of like a warning signal, or something that keeps you in line, keeps you humble, keeps you safe, if you may, to become a better person and to grow? So how do you love your fears? What are some of the fears that you know is actually trying to help you? But instead of being captured by it, instead of being caged by it, how do you then say, all right, fear, I love you to bits. What is it that you're trying to tell me? What is it that you're trying to teach me? And let's move on. Okay? Let's move on in terms of growing in that particular aspect. Okay, so that's the heart part of it. And once you've got the body, we talked about the mind, we talked about the heart, the fourth aspect of human engagement is purpose. Okay? Is your spirit, is your purpose. It is the meaning that a higher being has given you to live out on this earth, if you believe that. Okay, if you don't believe that, we'll find something else that you believe in that gives you a personal meaning of why you do what you do. Because I think in an organization, you will be measured by numbers. You will be measured, you're going to be the top 100 coach or top 10 coach, top 1 coach, usually because of a numbers thing, right? However, does numbers equal fulfillment? Not necessarily. Does numbers equal happiness? Not necessarily. However, usually, if you can discover your personal meaning behind why you're a coach, and it doesn't have to be, I want to save the world. Okay, I'm not here to tell you that you've got to be all that. Okay, but what you do have to be is authentic. You've got to be self-introspecting enough to discover what's in it for you. And the personal meaning, let's say you're doing this for money. What is the personal meaning that money will give you in your life? I mean, none of us is going to be, opening up a big pool, throwing all our money in there and swimming in it every day. The money is going to go to something. Let's say the money goes to your kids' education. The personal meaning behind that is, I am doing this business so that I can provide for my children. Why is that important to you? Well, because that's the role model parents that I want to be. I want my kids to know that they've got role models. I want my kids to know that I'm there for them. And that's the personal meaning. That's the stuff that gets you going every day. Why not? Why does it have to be, feeding everybody in the world, ending poverty, and all these kinds of things? No, it's not always about that. Some of us just have our personal meaning, we're very clear on it, and that's cool. Because if you've got that personal meaning and that purpose, what you've got is a new level of leadership. It is not just looking good, saying the right things. It is an authentic, purposeful leadership. And we talked about this several growth webinars ago. And then you can engage people on their purpose. Some of the things why some of the coaching sessions are so shallow, because we don't go there. We don't go to purpose. And purpose is a deep one. But if you can get it at that level, if you can help your clients find their personal meaning in their business, you can engage them. You can engage them spiritually in what they're trying to do. And that takes your coaching sessions to a whole different level. Okay, I mean, we're not forgetting 5 ways and 6 steps and all that stuff, okay? But it takes your relationship with them to a higher level. So it's also about working on your purpose hard enough, not just after a great webinar or after a great seminar, but always having this sharpening that purpose in your head, because your purpose is your must-have. It could be a Ferrari that's on your dream list. It could be a nice gold watch that's on your dream list. But usually all that kind of fades away after you've got it, okay? But it's the meaning that you attach to having those kinds of things that stays. So your purpose is your must-have. The expression of your purpose could be material things, could be experiences, could be other things, but that's the expression of your purpose. The idea of having a purpose, the clarity of it, and the personal meaning behind it is what drives you. So we've talked about 4 areas here. We've talked about body, mind, heart, and spirit in a way that I hope kind of brings new clarity into the subject and helps you with a question that I want to leave you with is, how have you been engaged in all 4? Sometimes because we want to be the smartest, because we're left brainers, because our competitors are a whole bunch of consultants. We engage a lot of our mind. We sharpen that saw like nobody's business. We just sharp, sharp, sharp. Okay? We're very good at sharpening the mind. I have no doubt. I know many of the people in the action system are also very good with the heart, because many of you do this with great contribution, and you do this and you serve your clients, you serve your colleagues with amazing humility and giving. So I think with the mind and the heart, it should be something that is quite regularly exercised in this system. The next is physical body, because some of us just work really hard and we don't take care of that physical body enough. And that might actually be starting to deplete your energy to contribute in the other aspects. So pay attention to that one. Now, passion is only your heart. Passion comes from you, but purpose comes from your creator. Purpose is your design. So you might understand what you love, which is your passion, but do you understand what you are designed to do? Okay? It is the next level of passion, maybe. It is the realm where you say, well, it's not only what I love to do, it is what I am made for. And that's your purpose. So if you're already great at passion, which I'm sure many of you listening to this webinar already are great at passion, I want to challenge you up to the next level, which is purpose. And this is where you can create, as John C. Maxwell says, there's 5 levels of leadership. The top level is personhood. A person who is so inspiring, not just because they love what they do, but it seems like they're here on a mission. They understand what is their mission. They understand what their design is, and they're out there to do it. So, we've talked a lot. I'll see you in the next growth webinar. Now it's time to take some action. Again, email me if you have any questions, if you'd like to talk about anything. These growth webinars are always put on the wiki, thanks to Fabros and the team at the global office. So you can always find them at the wiki under Action Media Growth Webinar Series. Okay, so hopefully you have gotten some value out of it. Please drop me a line and tell me what value you've got. I'd love to hear from you. All right, until our next growth webinar, I will see you soon. And hopefully, till then, you are more engaged in all 4 aspects of your being. Bye-bye.